Hello, today is March 23rd, 2010, and I'm here continuing my process of clearing the food fog. This blog or this web forum on my website, foodfog.com, has been definitely a cathartic outlet and tool in my process of doing just that, of clearing the fog that surrounds my relationship with food. And I'm not sure it'll ever completely clear, but I can see through it now. So on that note, to keep it real and be real honest about this whole process, I've definitely been struggling a little lately. Some of the old patterns of behavior have reemerged, or I see them pop up every now and then in times of stress. And you know, once you have an eating disorder, or you've struggled through that process, I don't think you're ever completely free of it. You just bring a new light of consciousness to it and awareness to it, and you use a different set of tools to manage it. And sometimes when life gets busy or old feelings pop up, you tend to revert back to some of those tools that you utilized at that time, and not necessarily positive. So my main challenges, you know, it's hard admitting that sometimes I feel out of control, or that I don't feel always a perfect balance with food. And I think my my actual diet and the quality of foods I eat is really impresses even me sometimes, that I like the things that I like, and have been able to maintain, you know, pretty much a really clean diet for a year or two now, and have gradually transitioned towards that. But what has been interesting in this whole process is that you can eat the highest quality of foods, and it really doesn't matter if you don't use them to the best of your ability to nourish yourself, if you abuse them in any way. And you know, basically it comes down to overeating, or eating when you're rushed or stressed, or eating for emotional reasons. And so I find myself occasionally dealing with some of those issues. Just you know, like I've said before, I have to prepare meals all day long for the kids, and I hold myself to a certain standard with them, that I want to at least do my best to nourish them well and minimize the processed or, you know, convenience foods they eat. And we try to keep it mostly organic, whole foods, and I have some basic standards. I try to let us, you know, live within the realm of normalcy, and minimize the stress around food for them, so that it's not this stressful experience. But nonetheless, I put some of it on myself to make sure that we have these things prepared, and of course we have allergy issues and things like that. So that has been a little bit something self-imposed maybe, but it nonetheless provides some stress, and I'm always having to deal with food, and I'm having to work on how to be around food all the time, and have to think about it for other people without, you know, using it as a stress reliever for myself. And again, the things that I may indulge in and overeat would be things like dried fruit, or nuts, or you know, flax crackers, or things like that I've made myself. Even sometimes fruit, I'll just find maybe I eat too big a bowl of fruit, or I'll make a big salad and not really stop when I'm full, but I just finish it, and those kind of things. And so here's this process of having sort of come through recovery to some degree from an eating disorder, but then realizing it's still always there. And of course, these are issues that even people with, you know, out eating issues deal with sometimes, with stress and being busy, and I think almost everybody eats to some degree for emotional reasons. But nonetheless, I'm still having to work on this, and sometimes I'm like, oh, is this really, am I going to have to just constantly think about food for the rest of my life? And I was joking around with Darren today, and I said, you know, I wish I had the same passion and energy about food that I do for water polo. and for the sport of water polo, and he looked at me kind of curiously and said, "Well, I've never heard you talk about water polo. What do you mean?" And I said, "That's exactly it. I wish that I had, the consciousness about food, or interest in food sometimes, that I do, about the sport of water polo, which I don't even know anything about." So, on one hand, I love food and it's a creative outlet. I love preparing things and being creative. On the other hand, I just wish I could get the heck away from it and just eat when I'm hungry and think all about me and my needs and when I'm hungry and what am I really feeling, and why am I eating. But I don't have always the clarity of mind to sit and analyze all that, and I just have to navigate each day and do my best. And my biggest challenge has been, just after all this juice fasting and basically over almost a year of eating completely raw, almost raw foods, I'm still struggling, have been for a few years, with just chronic bloating. And let me tell you, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but if you work hard to lose over 100 pounds, and now here I am, I've actually even lost weight in the last year to where, the scale says it's less, but I always just feel like I've got this bloated belly. It doesn't make you feel like maybe you've arrived where you want to be, is fit. And when I was doing the fast for 10 days, you're empty, so that my belly was just like flat. I mean, it wasn't perfectly, I still have, it's gonna never be like, six-pack abs, but there was it wasn't distended at all. It didn't feel like there was anything in there, and it felt actually good, and I felt energetic and kind of more alive that way. Yet, I can't fast forever, and so trying to find that balance of the amounts that I need to eat, because I've really come to believe, while of course the quality of food is absolutely crucial, the biggest factors for me is moderating my amounts over the space of a day, and not, because my whole approach has always been like small breakfast of fruit or something, and then like one big meal at 4 p.m. or so, and like be a big salad, or maybe some dates or nuts or something for dessert, or some crackers or something like that. It would be a heavier, bigger meal in the afternoon, and back when I was eating mostly vegan, it would be soups or lentils or beans or rice or whatever, and generally a big salad, and probably too much volume at once, but it always made me feel satiated, and then I didn't think about food again for the rest of the day. And that actually really worked well for me. It was on a mental level, or actually on a physical level, I felt satiated, I felt fulfilled, gratified, and like I could just go on and focus on my day. And when I always felt like, when I eat little amounts all through the day, I feel like I'm always hungry, like I'm always thinking about what's the next snack, and I hate that feeling. I like to eat just once or twice and be done with it. But apparently that once or twice is going to have to be way less, even though it hasn't been a weight issue, because I've actually lost weight. But those amounts, I guess, are just gonna, because it's not been the quality of the food. I've played with even the fats and the carbs and the greens and all that. I've tried different things, and it's just volume in general. If I eat more than a small bowl full of anything, I'm just bloated. And so I guess I'm going to have to keep working on this and tweaking that ratio and what works for me. And I don't know, maybe I need to, one of the things I've looked into is maybe I need to go and have that endoscopy test and see if there's something digestively going on, because I was supposed to do it like 3 years ago, and I just keep feeling like I just want to empower myself to take charge of my own health and not have to go down that route. And I haven't been in any pain or had any alarming urgent symptoms or anything where I felt scared or anything. It's just this chronic bloating, and I have had some preliminary tests and things like that, so I'm not too worried that it's anything serious. I think it's just poor digestion from years of abuse, but nonetheless I have to keep thinking about this, and having worked so hard on this over time to get here and to feel not like ideal is kind of a bummer. So still working on some of these issues and feeling discouraged in some ways and optimistic in others, yet knowing that I'm totally empowered to use the resources I have to just keep working on clearing the food fog and finding that balance for myself. And so nice talking to you. See you soon.